Alright, last one. So this is the player perspective from position 1 troll. Let's see if we can get to the game. Okay. Alright, so let's see what the starting items look like for the troll. 2 sets of tangos, quelling blade, and stats. Okay, I don't mind that. Hopefully the iron branches are... Why is it showing me Void Spear? Is that a replay bug? Yeah, I'm looking at the right guy. Void Spear wouldn't buy slippers. Okay, so that looks right. Hopefully these turn into... I imagine you're going to eat them in the lane, but hopefully these turn into a wand or something else. You don't really need the extra stats to be able to last hit in lane. The stats are okay, but if you just end up eating those as your regen, then it's probably a little wasted. You got 2 sets of tangos. Clock also has 2 sets of tangos, and he brought a salve as well in case you get nuked early. So you're going to be really heavy on regen in the lane. I don't think you end up using barely any of it as the lane goes on, which is fine. Interesting cut on that tree. I'm not sure why you cut that tree. If you're just bored or if that's just something you do, that's fine. I don't think there's a lot of value in that. But something that really helps your support out is to cut some of these other trees. So like this one right here, this tree is extremely important. You need to cut this tree out because that allows your support to basically dip in and out of tower range and try and maybe sometimes aggro somebody back into the tower. So by killing this creep wave, it lets your position 5 basically come from this small camp, play around in this area, and if he needs to, he can duck back here. But without any cuts in this tree line, he has to walk all the way around, or the clock's going to have to waste one of his own tangos to eat his way through. So if you're just kind of idling around here, ask the support what trees he needs cut, because he probably wants this tree right here cut, and then he probably wants this tree right here cut. This gives him 2 ways to basically duck in and out. Sometimes maybe this tree, but this one's a little too obvious. But this way he can duck basically in and out of the lane and kind of flank around faster. Not a big deal, but it's just something useful to do as a carry that brings a quelling blade early on when your support doesn't have one. Alright, mid is disconnected, so let's skip forward. Let's see what happens here. Okay, he's back. Let's see, you don't see anybody yet. You're up against Tiny with boots and Abaddon with more stats and last hitting kind of stuff. A lot of regen on the Abaddon too. Only 1 set of tangos on the Tiny. That's going to hurt him later because the boots early. He doesn't get a lot of value out of it. Clock throws down a ward. Is he already hit by the Abaddon? Or, no, it's just another replay bug. Alright, Tiny's hiding on the other side, and you guys are going to go for a rune fight. So, haven't skilled the spell yet, that's fine. Imagine you're gonna skill the. Well, let's see what you do actually. I think you're gonna go for the range throw. A lot of damage. Okay, so now you do skill the throw. That's good. I expected that, and this gives you a lot of harass. That's really good. So that's great. Abaddon is down to a third of his health, and you guys are doing great. You don't even need to eat a tango. Just walk back. You'll be full. Clock doesn't need to eat one of his tangos. He'll be full again. So that's fantastic. Abaddon's the only guy that's suffering at a little better than half health. Alright, so you didn't even try to block this. That's unfortunate. I'm not sure if maybe you didn't get there in time. But you should really be trying to block this creep wave to try and get the creeps to end just outside of tower hitting range. Let's see if you missed it or what. Looks like you kind of angled to try and then you just missed it. Okay, so it's not a big deal. But if you had blocked it, maybe you could have had the creeps back here instead of back here. Not a big difference really, but that's good. Good. Pull the creeps back. Deny this range creep. Okay, try to use your spell nuke to secure that. It didn't work out. That's fine. Go back for these creeps. So this should work out well. I'm gonna miss a couple of these creeps down here. It's unfortunate. Okay, you did get all those last hits. It's good. Let's check out the last hit count. You got 2. Abaddon's got 3. Not a big deal. Clock is pulling, so this is unfortunate, but it's to help the lane in general. So right now this is terrible lane position for you, and he's trying to reset that. So As long as you kite away from the Tiny, Tiny doesn't have mana for a nuke, then you're good. Was alright, get that deny. Nope, missed it. That's unfortunate. Pull this creep all the way back, that's fine. You can actually last hit this under tower, there's no reason to hold this unless you're really not confident in your ability to last hit that creep. You're now in melee form with your Quelling Blade, you could have hit that under tower easily. Hold that back. This is good. You should get all these last hits uncontested, that's a shame. Okay, so that's 2 free ones you missed. Okay, you got 1. Okay, so you got 2 out of 4 there, but you should have had all 4. Like, you were uncontested. I saw one of them was really close. Maybe you thought you had it, but should have been closer. Clock is harassing the Tiny. That's good. You should just keep hitting the Abaddon. This is perfect. Throw the mischance. Eat a Tango. You're now down to... So you got 6 Tangos. You haven't been eating any of them. You're down to half-life, and you haven't popped one this entire time. I don't know why, but once the trade starts and the fighting starts to build up, and you know that you're committed to actually exchanging a bunch of right clicks with the Abaddon, you can eat a Tango in between excuse me, right clicks with them. The tree is right next to you because you're fighting right here, and then even if you don't, you need to eat one really quickly right now because you're wasting time. Okay, one more range hit. Eat a Tango. Yeah, this is really inefficient. Very, very wasted. You even run up to the tree and then don't eat it. And if the Tiny was here to nuke you, the Tiny could come out of the tree line here, and at level 2 he could throw his Avalanche Toss combo and you'd be dead. So there you go, you finally eat a Tango, but that was extremely late. He's harassing the Abaddon, that's fine. Just focus on your last hits, you don't even need to go for that. Okay, you missed that one. You missed a deny. There's a lot of easy ones you're missing. You just missed another deny. Okay, so that right there is like probably 8 or more free uncontested CS that you missed. You even have a Quelling Blade, so consider a little bit of a crutch because you're giving yourself an extra 15 damage. You're in melee form, so you really shouldn't be missing that many CS, especially when they're uncontested. You weren't helping the clock harass the Abaddon. You weren't going for a Tango, even though you should be going for another one now since you're still missing a lot of health. So like if you're doing one of those two things, I would understand, maybe missing some of these things, but really you're missing a lot of freebies that even at our level, you should be getting those. I would definitely work on some of your last hits and denies. As a freebie, okay, so this is a mistake that I talked about earlier on the Clockwork replay, but we'll talk about it now here. So at this point, the Abaddon is way back here, and he pops a salve. You're in the trees, which is good. So this creep just died. You're hiding in the trees, so he doesn't see you from this angle. And Abaddon is really low health. You guys hear the healing salve proc. There's an audio cue, so you know that someone proc the healing salve. You can see it wasn't your buddy Clock. So either the Abaddon or maybe the Tiny somewhere else, but the Tiny's already ran all the way home to base. And so you have range form. Clock is level 2. He doesn't have his flare. If you go through the trees here and you run either this way or maybe even all the way around on the outside and you throw the range nuke onto the Abaddon, he's going to be following the creep wave a little bit because he wants to try and keep the XP range. He's not going to like run all the way back to the tower. That would be safe and smart of him, but he's probably going to hang around in this area, and you have a ward, so you can see, based on this Clockwork ward, exactly where the Abaddon's going. So you can see he's going to get 400 health back. You really should go through and throw down the nuke on the clock. The clock actually tells you about it. He says something over comms that the Abaddon is healing with the salve, and you try to get it later. But basically, at this point, you could come down here. This creep dies. They're going to meet right here. This is perfect. You're in the trees. You're right where you need to be. Just throw the nuke right here. Instead of stopping here and turning around, stop here, change to range form, and then throw your range nuke out. You could have popped this right here, and you could have canceled 200 health off of the Abaddon. Instead, you run back up for some reason. You don't end up throwing the range nuke until later, and basically Abaddon gets like 390 out of 400 health off of his salve, because only now you just decide to switch over. Clock is telling you pop the salve, you go for a deny, which is fine. Clock was there to get that deny, you didn't have to do that. You finally switch to range form, you're going to throw the nuke on him, he's got, oh, you may not even get any of it. Yeah, it actually ended. So he got the entire salve off. And that's unfortunate because you could have taken away 200 of his health for the deny. Even if you miss the deny on the range creep, the 1 CS is worth way less than 200 more health on the Abaddon. But we'll see. Clock is still zoning them out, which is good. So you're free farming. You shouldn't miss any of these. There's no reason you miss a single one of these last hits. Okay. Yep. Combo that deny. That was good. That was a good deny. Both of you worked together to get that good range hit. Harass, but don't miss that. Okay, good. Denied. That's excellent. You do better in your CS when you're under pressure than when you're free farming. That's funny. Good. Good. Keep hitting. Try to get the last hit on this Abaddon. Don't let the Clockwork get it. I mean, it's okay if he gets it, but really the gold needs to go to you. All right, so Clock's going to leave the lane. You're now back to free farming. Get out of range for him. You missed 2 CS right there because of that. Looks like you missed a third one. You missed a fourth one. Okay, so this is really bad last hitting right there. So you just missed 4 uncontested CS plus the 8 beforehand. Let's see, you're at where are you? You're 15.5, so you should be up to like 23 something. You should be basically at the same level the Storm Spirit is, but instead you've missed so many free last hits that your farm is really suffering. So you got a lot of gold. I don't know if you got something coming down the courier, but that's interesting. So you bought the slippers, you didn't finish them into like a Wraith Band, and you're holding this gold. You don't even have anything in your quick buy. So if you get ganked and killed, or you're ganked and you're about to die, you can't spam your quick buy button to use up your gold, because the whole point of that is you've got gold. Some of it is reliable, some of it's unreliable. It looks like half and half right now. If you buy an item as you're about to die, it prevents the enemy team from basically denying that gold from you and getting it in the kill, and you're losing net worth. So you really want to have something ready in your quick buy here, and I don't understand why this quick buy is empty. Maybe it's a replay bug, but you should really have your next several items planned out here. Let's see if everyone else's works. Okay, so other people's quick buy works, so I'm not sure it's a replay bug. Void Spirit also doesn't have anything. I'm not sure if that actually happened in game, but you really need to have some items here, and you really should have bought something more because it's now 4 minutes in and you haven't ferried out anything. I understand not needing another salve since this lane is going so well. You're a little slow to eat the tangos, but you're doing well on regen, so maybe you don't even need a salve, but you should be ferrying something out by now. This far in with 1,000 gold, you should have bought something. Okay, got a last hit there. That's good. Oh, maybe switch to player perspective. Okay, so wait, no, that's not you. Okay, so in player perspective, you still don't have an item in quick buy. This is really bad. All right, Tiny's coming back. This lane is not looking good here. Okay, mid disconnects again for another time. Okay, so you use the pause you took advantage of the downtime to basically add something to your inventory. But look at this, you're going for power treads, and you could have had components of this. You could have had 2 of these pieces already on their way out to you. So probably at this point you're just going to wait until you get the last piece of it and then send the entire fully built boots all the way out to you. But that's a shame. You should have had either the boots or the gloves of haste on you by now. So this is just wasted efficiency. They're still on your perspective. So I guess you're checking other people's inventory. That's good. That's smart. Use the downtime to sort of figure out what everyone else is doing in the game. All right, looks like Clock is going to swing in for another gank here, or another harass, so this is going to work out well. You get nuked, but the Tiny doesn't throw his... That's weird, so the Tiny didn't have enough mana for his combo, so that worked out really well for you, because you might have been dead there otherwise. And so this fight just happens to go okay. So that was probably a bit of a mistake. So Tiny showed up to the lane for this fight without enough mana to throw the combo, and that really saved you. Is this part of that? Yeah, let's go back a little bit more. So Tiny comes back to the lane, and Tiny didn't decide to buy a mango or anything, so he doesn't have enough mana to throw both of his spells. He can only throw one or the other. Huge mistake on Tiny's part. Really poor decision there. But you don't have that much life, so you're not eating another tango. You're 200 short. Tiny comes up, and if, let's say Tiny's a better player, and he does have enough, so he's got 90 damage off the toss, and tossed unit as an enemy takes an extra 30% damage. Okay, so that's 30% more, so let's say it's about 25, so maybe 115. And then the avalanche is 75, but it's tripled if you're being tossed, so it would be 225 plus the 115. What I said, so it's 340 damage, which isn't that great, but it's a lot more than when he just one time avalanches unit's going to be 75. So let's assume there's going to be another 250 damage, and see if you survive that. Because you're here, you're still not eating another tango. Tiny comes in, does the one attack. Okay, so you wouldn't have even been close to dying. So realistically, that never threatened you anyway. You have 500 health, so even if you had the extra 300 damage from the proper combo, that would have taken you down to about 200. You would have been bullied out of lane, but you would have survived still. So definitely pound that tango. And then when you're playing against a tiny support that's going to go for basically the toss avalanche combo, that's his one trick. Like Tiny as a support only has one play. He's going to try and get the toss avalanche on you, or he's going to try and toss back. But this early on, he doesn't have anyone to really toss back for a kill, so he has to do it all himself. And so you really want raindrops at this point. So it's far enough into the game that you can buy the raindrops. These are available in the shop now. You should have these, because if you buy these raindrops, it ruins Tiny's ability to nuke you. And as the guy that's going to be targeted probably the most by Tiny, you should really have that. Every time you're playing a core game against someone that's on Tiny support, raindrops have a lot of value. Eat the tango. Still don't understand why you haven't popped another tango yet, but that's fine. Deny, good. Getting some damage, that's fine. Eat a tango, eat that tango. Still not eating a tango, I don't understand. There you go, finally, good. Good. Alright, so clock goes off to get runes and feed, and you're basically in the lane by yourself, that's fine. Fortunately, Abaddon is sort of catching up to you here, so you're 26, he's 21. It's unfortunate that you didn't get that deny. Again, easy, free last hit. You screwed that one up. Okay, that was a good one. Okay, good. Okay, good. So you got the later ones there. You really got to be careful about missing some of these last hits. Good. Clockwork goes into harass. It's a free deny. Free deny last hit. Okay, you got one of them. Okay, that's not bad. You still don't have any items, so I don't understand what's going on. Okay, so it looks like the courier's on its way, so I guess you have the full set of boots that just arrived. Okay, so that's fine. For some reason, I didn't see any items here. You still need to have planned out what your next item is going to be. In the draft phase, the team was talking about it. Your captain was saying go for a diffusal blade. It's going to be very important in this game, so at this point, you should have queued up a diffusal blade. Maybe convert the slippers into a full Wraith Band and complete that stat item. You've still got these branches, and I guess you're saving those for the last two tangos, so that these last two tangos are the most value. But at this point, this is a little inefficient here. So either convert the slippers over, start queuing up for the Blades of Alacrity, so you can start working on the diffusal at this point. But you really need to have an item ready. Alright, so Tiny's harassing you here. Clockwork comes back. Let's see if he gets a harass. Okay, he does. I think this fight goes well for you. You should get a kill here, if I remember correctly. Yep, good kill on the Tiny. And then, unfortunately, Clock screws up the cogs and kind of forces the Abaddon off to the side. But overall, pretty good. You're now 2 levels ahead of Abaddon. That's excellent. You got your 6. Abaddon is still 4. So that's very unfortunate. Okay, that was a mistake right here. It looked like you tried to correct it later, but Clock has this triple camp that's over here on this side. And Clock is going to, try and aggro this camp and then pull it up diagonally to connect with this wave, because this creep equilibrium here is terrible. This is right outside of Abaddon's tower, and this is not a good place for you guys to be. So Clock is going to try and reset that by pulling up here. But as that's happening, you are dragging one of these creeps back. And so the one creep that you drag back aggroes into this wave right here. So Clock is trying to connect this wave. And if nothing else happens, Clock can run right through these tree lines right right between these two trees, and between these two trees, probably stand right here. The first creep hits him, and then the creeps will aggro this way. But that won't happen if this lane creep is anywhere within aggro range of these creeps, because the lane creeps will always prioritize other lane creeps over neutrals. So what you really need to do here is stop pulling this creep all the way back. I understand the idea of you wanting the creep to hit further back to, sort of pull the equilibrium here, but Clock warned you that he was pulling creeps, and so you should not try and connect and pull these ones back here. So stop right here, body block this creep, tank it, let these creeps hit these guys, and then this creep way down here doesn't interrupt a pull over here. But by continuing to walk up, you're going to mess this pull up, and then I don't think any of it goes the right way. Okay, so it looks like you understood what was going on too late, and then you hit that creep, but rather than stopping and hitting, you have to then, the best way to sort of save at this point is to just run past the creep, because the creep is going to continue to look at you and stop. But by stopping and right-clicking it one time, you've then continued to let it sort of look in this direction and not pull back this way. But it's probably still too late. I don't think he even gets the range creep. Yeah, so that hit right there, if there was no creep in the area, this wave would have aggroed off to the side. But unfortunately, the entire creep wave basically wipes out this little creep here, and now you go back to having terrible equilibrium much further down the lane. So that's an unfortunate mistake. It's like you're just going to shove into the tower too, which is also not bad. You just go ahead and nuke out that last range creep. That's a good hit. You can get free hits right now in the tower, but looks like you're just going to dance instead. See, this is weird. So Clock is going to go for another pull, try and do what he failed to do last time, and you're just standing here. You should be at least right-clicking the tower for a couple freebies if you're not going to do anything. Looks like you ran here. Okay, so this is unfortunate. So you ran over to the shop and you bought the first part of a Battle Fury. So the team talked about getting a Diffusal early on. You have a good lead over the Abaddon. Let's see what your net worth is like. Your second net worth in the game, just a smidge behind the Storm Spirit, so that's good. But you really shouldn't be going for the Battle Fury right now. So you have Slippers as like a value purchase, which is silly. I don't think anybody does this. This should either be a Wraith Banner, or it shouldn't even exist in your inventory. Like Slippers by itself is silly. It's an inefficient use of the space. But whatever, that's too late at this point. But you really shouldn't be going for the Battle Fury here. So this is a very expensive item. It's going to be as expensive as the Diffusal that you're going to want to go for. So let's see. Where are our items? Can't see anything with this. How do you? There we go. So Diffusal is 3,100, and the Battle Fury that you want is, let's see, I'm a support player. I don't know where Battle Fury is. 4,100. Okay, so it's an extra 1,000 gold to get the Battle Fury. So you're really delaying your Diffusal, because that makes your Diffusal now a 7,000 gold item. When you could have the Diffusal, which gives you more kill potential than the Battle Fury does. The Battle Fury damage, what, 55 extra damage and some regen. That's not as good as the slow and the mana burn off this, because you're getting 20 more damage off the agility, plus you're getting the 40 mana burn and the damage from the mana burn, something like what, 30? So basically another 50 damage off the Diffusal Blade instead of 55 damage from the Battle Fury. The cleave isn't that important, so you're probably thinking you're going to like power jungle, and you end up AFK jungling a lot in this game, which really hurts the team. But that doesn't work out well with the rest of the your composition. So you got the Axe, who's going to get an early Blink Dagger. You've got the Clockwork, which is going to look for a lot of ganks, and then the Void Spirit, which is a pretty mobile hero that can help out in fights. There's really no reason to go for this Battle Fury, and even if you wanted to do that, you should have discussed it with the team. Just every major item purchase, call out, hey, I'm going Battle Fury, and just, or hot ping it. You can do alt click, and then it tells your team how much gold you are away from that item. But by not going for the Diffusal that the team talked about earlier, it probably screwed up some of the mid game fights, and really hurt your gameplay for the rest of the round, because you didn't end up getting a BKB because you had spent so much gold trying to get the Diffusal or the Battle Fury and Diffusal first, so you didn't even have a BKB by the time the game ended, and there's just so much magic damage that's not good. There's so much magic disable. So this is probably the biggest mistake of the game item wise. All right, so let's see what happens here. So at that point, Clock did manage to connect this pull, and you should be over here trying to clear out this creep wave. So while you've got a full wave of creeps over here, Clock is going to get that deny. That's easy, and then Clock can pull this wave all the way back up into the tower. There's no reason for you to stick around for this. This is a quad stack that you need to defend. I'm not sure if the Abaddon knows it's here yet, but at some point he will. He'll discover it shortly, and you really need to wipe this out. So I understand maybe you're a little too weak at this point. You can't take it out, but you should be at least working on it until the Axe decides to show up and help counter Helix it. With this full creep wave tanking it, you probably have enough time to kill probably one camp's worth of this quad stack, maybe more. Instead, you're not even going to go for the denies or anything. You're just going to kind of walk up and see Clock was trying to pull this creep wave back, and then you then took the aggro from the creeps and continued to dance. The creeps are way back here, so there's no way you're going to, I mean, you could just stand here and just tank the creep damage, but there's no real need to do that because we're worried about this quad stack. You should just continue to let Clock pull this all the way back in, last hit these over here, and then go back to try and make sure that this camp is safe while the Abaddon is basically standing around doing nothing. Looks like you're going to tank it anyway just to let the creeps get here. That's okay. It's not terrible, but again, this camp is threatened. Good harass on the Clock. He's going to intercept for you. That should be a kill. And that worked out really nicely. Abaddon discovered the camp, but then died for it. And you've got fantastic creep position. So this is actually pretty good so far. Wave is pushing in like it would have done anyway. So you're not quite getting the benefit. And basically you have to tank another wave. Okay, Clock pulls again. That's good. So basically deny both waves. Alright, so you're getting a freebie. That's good. Saw you tread switch for your spell. That was good. Should be eating this last tango. So now you've got two branches. So now I'm confused. You didn't use one of the branches for your tangos. So even if you branch tango the last one, you're still going to have an extra branch just kind of sitting around. I guess it's nice to have this spot in your inventory filled while you're waiting for your next expensive item. But that's a little inefficient. So if you're going to use the branches for a double tango, you actually have to do it. You have to plant the tree and then eat it. And if you're not, then the branches are kind of a waste. You're basically using more of your starting gold at the beginning for a smidge more stats, which is okay. But you don't usually see people hold the branches this long. They get eaten or they get turned into a wand or something like that. All right, so they're trying to contest your stack, which is fine. Clock is running away, which is not good, because now you can't defend the stack by yourself, so you're going to jungle a small camp. That's okay. I don't mind that. You get a neutral item, which is good. And this creep wave is shoving in. Alright, so now you're going for the whole power jungling thing, which is unfortunate because you were doing so well in your lane. You had a huge advantage over the Abaddon. Abaddon has 1,600 gold less than you. The Tiny is 13. So you have more net worth than both the people in this lane combined. But you're giving up the lane. So basically, Abaddon is going to start free farming now, and you're going to be trying to jungle. And the jungling isn't going to be as fast as the lane farm. So maybe that's a product of the Clock going, trying to roam and gank. But if you stay in the jungle right now, this becomes inefficient. You lose the advantage you have because you're ahead now, but you're going to fall off. Especially going for the Battle Fury. Alright, so the team is going down bottom looking for a gank. Okay, so this is interesting. You're abandoning your lane so much that the Axe is coming up top. Okay, so the Axe is probably thinking he's going to help with this camp here, but if the Axe is TPing in to help with this quad stack, you need to nuke this real quick and come right back. Let's see how long you take, but I don't think you do that. I think you continue to jungle. Okay, Axe dies bottom. That's right. You won't be back till his next life. And now you're still jungling. This is fine. Nothing else is going on. This creep wave is pushed in way too much. So Clock connected that last pull, but then left, which was a mistake. So Clock should have connected the pull and then aggroed again. So this lane position is terrible. This equilibrium here that's probably mostly Clock's fault. Clock being me. But this is still not great for you. So again, you're still jungling. Abaddon is free farming the lane, so he's out farming you, which is unfortunate. The creep waves are worth more than the jungle camps here because these aren't stacked, other than this quad stack here, which you guys have ignored. And really, you should be taking the quad stack if nobody else is. You have to stay close enough that you can at least contest it and watch. Because like Abaddon's here, he's going to try and take it over. Axe is going for it, but you need to be moving over right now. So this is a mistake. Axe has finally come back. He's it's been talked about over voice comms. He's going to go try and clear this stack here. But the whole point of Axe clearing the stack isn't so Axe can get the experience. We don't want Axe to take all these creeps here and then just suddenly jump up 2 levels. That's not valuable. The whole point is for you to get that experience in gold. And the only reason the axes get sent over is because maybe you can't tank them completely. So Axe is going to run into this camp, going to start counter helixing, and you need to be on the outside as a ranged hero, hitting them, trying to get all the last hits. Even if you don't get the last hits, you get the experience because the Axe does not need the experience more than you do. So he's position 3, you're position 1. You need to take advantage of this quad stack. And it looks like the Abaddon is going to start it first, and so you should be here to help contest and really try and kill the Abaddon as well. So the 2 of them are going to kill off the stack between his counter helix and his shield. Basically blast everybody. Good play on the Axe to go back and aggro the creeps for more spins. But you need to be there. This is way too long. You're taking far too long to get over there. Axe manages to get the kill, but now this is unfortunate. I understand that. That was good, trying to get a root on him and finish him off, but Tiny comes in and ruins it. He's got a haste rune anyway, so you're not going to get him with what was left of that haste. So that's fine. Go back to jungling. Good tread switching. Still using these 2 iron branches, and now you're down to half health. So this would be a great time to plant one of those branches, eat your last tango, and get back a good bit of your health while you're missing a huge chunk of it like that. Looks like his clock is coming back to the lane, so you should come back with him. This is good. You should get a kill on the Jakiro or the Tiny. Maybe both, but hopefully one. Okay, that's unfortunate. Yep, clock screws up his hook shot, and there's now too many people here, so just back out. That's good. Still, eat this tango. You've had this tango forever. You're missing 260 health. You got these worthless branches. Plant a branch, eat the tango. I don't want to keep harping on it, but you should see this in your inventory. All right, so clock is just dancing around, harassing. You're going for jungle farm. That's fine. Okay, so this is big. So you clear the jungle camp here. Void Spirit, your mid TP's in behind the trees, out of vision, going for a gank. These guys just used a bunch of spells on Clock. Clock is probably going to have a couple spells up in a little bit, depending on how long the fight goes. This is a good gank opportunity. So these guys are here. Tiny is out of mana, no life. You really want to catch one of these guys, preferably the Jakiro. The Jakiro is a really easy kill right here. So this should be a gank, and I think you just go back to jungling. Void Spirit comes through. He's right behind you. Okay, so you see Void Spirit coming through. He cuts the tree. He comes through the trees. He's hiding. Clock is dancing around with the Jakiro, trying to bait him. Void Spirit's clearly going for this. This is going to be a kill. He's going to use his Astral Step and then Aether Remnant. Maybe you think Void Spirit can just get the kill solo. Maybe that's why. But you really need to go for this kill. Because right here, you decide to start jungling. You're right there. You move down to the bottom, and you start to take this jungle camp as Void Spirit dives in. So this is a huge mistake. You're doing the wrong thing. You're trying to get a lousy couple of gold, while Void Spirit is basically throwing everything he has onto the Jakiro, and it's not going to work. He's not going to get the kill because the clock had nothing. He had to run away for his life. He nukes him down to half, but if you were there, that would have been a kill. So you basically gave that away for no reason. And of course, the Abaddon is too tanky. He's got his ult. So there's no kill potential there. So you walk over late, but completely ruin that gank. So now Void Spirit has wasted all of his time TPing up here, and now Void Spirit has to try and walk all the way back through the jungle to mid while you go back to farming that camp. Alright, so let's see what happens now. Now you're sitting here waiting for the camps to come back. It's unfortunate, but alright. Looks like Veno is taking your lane, which is also unfortunate. You're doing a lot of jungling here. And of course, you're still really far from your Battle Fury, so it's kind of interesting to note. You've got You got basically the money for the Claymore, and you can't afford the Ring of Health. So you're about 800 short, but remember the defusal was 1,000 less. So if you had gone for the defusal first, you would have had it about 30 seconds ago, or maybe a full minute ago, before you clear this camp. In fact, that's a good point. So this camp is worth less than that defusal difference. You would have had a defusal for the fight down here. You could have defusal the Jakiro or defusal the Abaddon if you had gone for the right item. But because you have the Battle Fury, you've wasted all this money on basically a Void Stone and a little bit of damage, doing nothing when a defusal could have gotten you a double kill. You would have turned that into a tier 1 push here, and the mid player wouldn't have wasted his time just kind of wandering around the jungle now. So that defusal would have been a double kill and basically game winning at this point. All right, so you do buy the other item, and now you're still 800 short from the other thing, and for some reason you've just decided to basically AFK farm for the rest of the game, I think. Yeah, Storm Spirit is starting to pick up, so Storm's going to go for ganks. Tiny is getting a little bit more gold, so Tiny has enough mana to actually throw 2 spells at the same time, and you're just kind of wandering around looking for jungle camps to farm. This is probably the worst mistake of the game. All right, so here you're in the right area. This is good. So you came out of the jungle to start looking for something. Axe kills the tier 1 tower. That's fine. Clock is too deep. He's pushed in too far. He's in a bad position. But you are in the area. So as you're farming these jungle camps, you're close enough to be able to move over for a fight if you want to. So that's good. This fight is already over, though. I think you recognize that. So you just turn around and go back to jungling. That's good. So this is exactly what you should have done. Try and stay close. If the fight doesn't work out, just run away. Go back to jungling. Clear this camp before you leave. That's fine. And this is good. Axe dodges a gank, which is nice, and the 2 of you get out. Perfect, perfect. You still have those stupid branches in your inventory. I don't know if you're going to sell those for like 50 gold, or if you're just going to hang on to these branches for forever. Because if you sold those 2 branches and that last tango that you don't need anymore, you might be able to get something out of it. This is a good thought. So you're showing up to this fight as well. The tier 1 push was called by somebody, so they told everyone to come to the tier 1. Axe decided not to. Venom decided not to. So the 3 of you guys are here in the right area to push this fight. But unfortunately, the Storm Spirit's going to get away because the clock is going to push him in the wrong direction. But otherwise, this is good up until the point where you commit your ult and dive here. Let's go ahead and see that. So Tiny comes up and nukes you. That's fine. Clock is going for the Storm Spirit here, and you're going for the Tiny. That's all right. Storm Spirit comes across, and now you've got 2 heroes here on this side. Clock is low position. Void Spirit's coming in with a double damage, but he's really far, and you pop your ult as the enemy carry is coming in. So your ult is going to run out by the time Sven gets here to stun you. Let's see, he's going to stun you, nuke you down, and then you're just going to die here at some point, I'm sure. Sven sidesteps the Remnant. You're taking tower hits for nothing, and you're super dead. You don't have any life steal, so this isn't going to work out well. You try to run away, which is wasted. You probably should just... Yeah, at that point, you're already dead. You might as well just try and do enough damage onto somebody to let someone else get a kill. But at that point, it doesn't really matter. That fight was kind of botched. Alright, skip forward, see what you do when you respawn. Fight continues to go badly. Everyone dies. Okay. And you were just going to avoid the whole thing and go bottom. Okay. And you're going back to jungling. This is unfortunate. So if you're going to do that and you're going to go bottom, you might as well push this creep wave here. So these guys are all in mid. This fight is happening. A whole bunch of people have died. The people that haven't died have all TP'd to either this tower, or on our team they've TP'd to this tower. So everyone's sort of committed and wasted their movements and their time. You need to TP to this front tier 1 here if you don't want to get back in the fight. TP here, push this wave out, go bottom, push this creep wave over here, kill this wave, shove it into the tower, and then farm the enemy camps as you back away. And then you can come back and you can farm basically this small camp here, this large camp, come back for this ancient stack, and then hit this one, the small camp here, and basically farm all 5 of these as you run out. But here, it looks like you're just going to go straight for your own jungle, which is a little safer, but also a lot less efficient, trying to finish up your one item. And you're basically going to just get only these 2, maybe these 3 camps. And while this lane is a free opportunity to push, you're just going to let somebody else walk out to it eventually and sort of de-push this creep wave that's getting there. So here you are, you're doing jungle camps. You have your Battle Fury at 15 minutes, so not terrible, but again, you should have had a Diffusal an hour ago, and that would have really helped more. Let's see what you queue up next. You should queue Diffusal next. You don't have anything in your quick buy. Again, another mistake. It helps show your team what you're going for because they can click on you and see what you're thinking about if you're not talking about your item choices. Now this is the right idea. So you cleared these camps, got your Battle Fury, and then went out to push this wave. But the more efficient way to do this is now that you've got enemy heroes in the area, you're probably going to get jumped. You should have pushed this wave, done this clear, and then farmed backwards back into your own jungle. So you're doing the right thing, but just backwards. You had the right idea, but you executed it backwards. Sorry. Alright, so Jakiro shows, nukes that wave, that's fine. Yeah, just farm the enemy jungle as you run home. This is good. This is exactly how you should be playing that. I haven't noticed you self-stack any camps, but I also haven't been paying attention if that's the right timing, but hopefully you know to do that. If you're farming a camp at about the 50-second mark, just pull it out of the spawn box so that you can double stack it for yourself. Alright, running back up, you got nothing to do, no camps near you, so you're just going to wander around for a little bit. Alright, this is silly. So you completed your Battle Fury, and you had 2 branches in your backpack. You moved one of them up, and you left the other one in your backpack. So that I don't understand that at all. It's good that you move this other branch up to get the extra 3 attributes, but you should do the same thing with this iron branch as well. You have queued up your Diffusal, but you still have like this weird Slippers that isn't completed yet, and honestly, at this point, I also wouldn't go back and complete it into a Wraith Band, but it's just a weird build. Like, this whole thing doesn't make any sense to me. You should be talking out your build a little bit more with your team, because they talked about you getting a Diffusal. The whole game plan was going to be an early mid-gank sort of setup, and by not explaining this to your team, I think they're counting on you to do more than you are, and you're less impactful than you should be. Alright, so you're just going to wander around and AFK farm a little bit. That's unfortunate. See how long it takes you to get a... oops, we're going too fast here. See how long it takes you to get a Diffusal Blade. You got 1 part. You get a pick off here in the back, so your team is pushing this tower. This is really good. Group up with the team. You de-aggro the tower. That's good. Just keep hitting that. This should be a free tier 1. This is excellent. How do you not see this branch? It's just like Alright, you're moving into their jungle. You should go for a smoke or something. Try to get a pick off here. Okay, so you guys are going to get this Sven pretty easily. And at this point, you're just standing in the back, which is odd. Okay, so you saw the Abaddon, you went up for him, and then you let him run away, which is weird. So you didn't chase the Abaddon. Which isn't the worst thing. Good, just go ahead and clear that jungle camp while nothing's happening. But at this point, this is going back to being a little inefficient. Sieging the tier 2 is going to be good if you guys actually push bot tier 2. That's nice. Okay, clock fed like an idiot. You're just farming more jungle. Okay, you're going back to protect the tower. That's fine. Not a big deal. I mean, the tower's full health, so it's not any threat of getting wiped, but good to clear it out anyway. You got one of your Blades of Alacrity. You got 2 blades. Alright, that's good. So you're probably looking at like a 21-minute Diffusal. Maybe a little sooner than that. Hopefully sooner. Looks like you got the robe now. Should be a 20-minute Diffusal, actually. Which is not bad, but I mean, you're going to get a 20-minute Diffusal instead of, what was the actual timing supposed to be, like 9 minutes? 8 minutes, I think. Alright, good roots on the Storm Spirit. Now that kill happens a lot faster, though, if you have a Diffusal Blade, though. This works out. You're in the area. You're doing everything right here. Harassing. Stop hitting them right there. Good. You stopped. Use them up, and finish them off. There you go. Go back to melee. This is perfect. So that was well played. Everything there was good. No complaints. Complete the defusal before 20 minutes. That's good because of those kills. Yeah, just keep hitting them, build up those stacks, and then nuke that out. There you go. Start killing off that tower. You're a little exposed here. I would stand behind the range creep. There you go. You're starting to sidestep a little bit. That way, if someone comes in, they'll toss the range creep instead of you. So that works out nicely. You should kill this off completely. Uncontested. That's good. There's the team is standing around you to protect you, so this is all great. You have your defusal finally. That's perfect. So I can't believe that. So you saw the defusal, you decided you didn't like it in this slot and you wanted it over here, so you picked up the defusal, moved it to this slot, and then still left the branch in your backpack. Like, this makes no sense. This branch has been worthless the whole time. It's not a lot, it's only 3 attributes, but those 3 stats are something and you don't have another item. Just pull the branch up, especially if you're going to take the time to bring your mouse all the way down here to move the defusal blade over. That's very silly and very inefficient. And you don't have anything in your quick buy. You got 1,000 gold. Okay, you just instant buy a Morbid. That's not bad. Don't mind that at all. Would have rather you've taken the Vampire Fangs as a neutral item, but who took the Vampire Fangs? Was it was Axe? That was a mistake. Axe needs to give you the Vamp Fangs. As a position 1, you should be telling him that too. Farming up a lot of neutral items for your team. That's good. Send them back. Everyone else gets neutrals. All right, this is good. You self-stacked here. At least you tried to. Nope, you did. You got it. So that's perfect. That's something that the other players on your team weren't doing. So no reason not to. Okay, so that's interesting. So you were saving the 2 iron branches to buy a magic stick at 21 minutes. Okay, I changed my mind. That is worse than buying the Battle Fury. I thought the Battle Fury was the worst item purchase in the game, but this is actually worse. So having a magic stick and a magic wand is a good idea, but buying them this ridiculously late is terrible. You should have bought the magic stick at like 4 minutes at the latest and had the magic wand complete a lot earlier. This is silly. You bought a Battle Fury, a Defusal, and a Morbid Mask, and now you're going back for an item that gives you a little bit of stats and something that you need enemies to throw a lot of spells at you. And now that you're AFK jungling, you're not going to get a lot of charges. You're going to be hiding from the enemy team, trying to farm up these Ancients by yourself. You're going to show up to a fight with maybe 2 magic stick charges, whereas if you had gotten it in lane, you would have a full 20 charges on this thing because the enemy team would have been constantly spamming spells at level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is extremely silly. I can't understand why you think it's going to help. Maybe you think you're going to get nuked by the Storm Spirit or the Tiny, and you're hoping that somehow you build it up to 20 charges in a big fight. But this is very inefficient. So it explains why you're holding on to these silly branches, not why you didn't put one in your inventory. But this is probably the worse than the Battle Fury purchase. Not gameplay wise. So the Battle Fury cost us the game, but the magic stick is worse from a player perspective. This is not something Archon level players should be buying out of order like this. This is like going for I don't even know of a worse starting early game item that you would buy after your 3 big other items. That's just, I didn't even notice that in the game earlier. Alright, so doing more exploring, kind of wandering around, maybe thinking about getting some jungle camps in the meantime. Looks like Veno is actually taking your farm up here. You need to tell him to knock that off, and Veno needs to be more active with the team while you take those jungle camps, because as a position 1, Axe and Veno are jungling too much of your farm. Especially with how weird your items are. And with your Battle Fury, they should be stacking for you, because your Battle Fury is not getting any value here. Alright, so everybody groups up thinking there may be a fight here. Nothing happens. You kite back. This is the smoke. All right, you go down for the smoke. This is good. And then clock goes in for an unfortunate hook that doesn't lead to anything on a fight here. So let's go ahead and slow this down, see what happens. Looks like you run up, you start to go for the Abaddon, you don't use your defusal on him, then you go back for the Abaddon again. All right, you're starting to hit the Abaddon, you decide to run away from him, I guess because of the ice path, then you run into the ice path anyway. Okay, so that's very silly. So you let the Abaddon run away from you, then you kind of decide to hit him, run away from him because of the ice path. You run into the ice path anyway, and you still haven't defused anybody. So this active needs to get used. You ulted on the Sven, but you're ulting him hoping you're going to get a net root and not a defusal slow. That's a shame because you haven't built up your fervor stacks beforehand, so you really need to use the defusal early. Doesn't look like you're ever going to use the defusal active, actually. That's a huge mistake. Got another net, but now you're hitting someone with no mana who's got all of his defensive buffs, God Strength and Warcry. That's unfortunate. Your ult is ran out. You still haven't used your defusal. You have a lot of magic stick charges, so these are building up faster than I expected they would, which is good, but you're not going to use them. Looks like you're just going to die here. And let's see. Yep, you die. Okay, so the team basically got crushed. You went into the fight, you never used your defusal active, you went and bought a magic wand, completed it right before the fight, got it full of charges, and then didn't even use them. So this is extremely poorly done. That was just really bad decision making. So I would have, going on the Abaddon is fine early on, but you need to commit to him. You need to hit him with the defusal blade, stop him in place, build up your stacks on him, and then take away all of his mana so he can't help in the fight. And then you go on the Sven, you take away all the Sven's mana, but he's got so much armor that you're probably not going to kill him, even though I guess you hope somehow that you were going to, and everyone else behind you is hitting you. You don't defusal the Sven, so he's able to run from about here where the Tiny is now all the way to down here before he turns around and kills you. Yeah, that was very unfortunate. I don't think you should play Troll without maybe watching some more people's games on them and kind of get a feel for the gameplay. I wouldn't consider Troll one of your heroes. I don't know if it's just you're not used to the way the hero works or what, but that's really weird. All right. So now your team is on the back foot. Looks like you still have a net worth advantage, but I would say the team is definitely losing or feels like they're losing at this point without being able to see the value. So let's see what you do when you come back to life. 30-second respawn timer. That's not great. All right, so you're going to avoid the cleanup fight, which is fine, and going to go farm. I don't mind that. That's good. Just going to let that creep go. If you're going to let those creeps get away, just deny that. There's no reason. So this push doesn't have value. Like these creeps here aren't going to kill this tier 2 tower down here. So if you're not going to follow this creep wave and you're just going to turn around and walk away, just deny that. It takes a quarter of a second for you to one-shot that creep right there, and that denies whoever's standing here, the Storm Spirit, from getting that extra little bit of golden HP. So don't let the creep walk away with no life like that for no reason. That's a minor efficiency thing. Alright, so now you're back to farming. You realize that the BKB is important, and so you're going to start buying that. That's good. Okay, looks like you're going over here to help with the tier 1 push. That's fine. You need to buy a component of your BKB. You're not going to buy, so it looks like you're probably planning on trying to buy the entire thing and then ship it all out at once. You need to buy one of these two pieces, probably the Ogre Axe, give you some more survivability. Buy that Ogre Axe and then sell the slippers. So these slippers are totally worthless at this point, and if you try and buy all three of these components all at the same time, it's going to take forever. So I remember you don't actually ever get enough gold to complete this BKB. You just lose before you get close to finishing the recipe. So you should buy the Ogre Axe right now, send it out immediately, send the courier out to you, sell the slippers right here in this shop, and then you'll have, instead of 3 more agility, you'll have 10 more strength, which is going to be more valuable for you. I don't think you need to save for buyback. You can if you want, maybe that's your thought process, but I really don't think you're going to get like high ground enthroned at this point. You still have all your tier 2 towers, so while you still have the tier 2s, buyback isn't going to be as valuable on your core here. Unless maybe you're playing on Roshing, and then you never even attempt to Rosh, which is really unfortunate. It's one of the benefits of playing Troll, is you have a great Roshing hero, especially if you get one person to help, sort of remove armor somehow. In this case, I don't think you have that, but with Venno or Axe, the two of you can easily take Troll, and you can sneak it without the other team knowing, but you never even try. It's not discussed amongst the team, which is unfortunate. I should have told you to go Roche earlier. I ended up telling you later, but I probably should have told you earlier, right about now. This would have been a perfect time. The other 4 members of your team are threatening this tier 1 tower. You just need to sneak into the Roche pit. Have Venno throw you a couple of poison wards, and with your Morbid Mask, you should be fine. So, let's see how this goes. Alright, so instead you guys are going to slow siege this tower, which is unfortunate because this takes too long, you don't get it, and the rest of the enemy team shows up. Very inefficient, everyone's standing around, just kind of hanging out together, doing nothing. Tiny screws up his play, you don't defusal him there either. Okay, so that's another screw up. You've got the defusal blade, he was in defusal range, he was like right here. You could have popped the defusal on him and slowed him, would have basically stuck him in this spot, and then Void Spear could have gotten an Aether Remnant on him, or Axe could have called him, or you could have just gotten him stuck, and then everyone could have backed out while the rest of the team sort of panic runs up to save him. But either way, you still don't use the defusal. I'm actually curious to see if you ever use the defusal active all game long. It'd be kind of interesting to see. I don't know if maybe it's an item you don't use a lot. Alright, so everyone backs out. You go for more farming. This is a riskier time to Roche, so I wouldn't Roche here. But you definitely need to be thinking about it. Try and force rotation bot so you can get yourself some space to get in there, or smoke into the pit and just try and ninja take it. But not even attempting to Roche the entire time is a shame. Good self-stack right there with the range switch over, so that was good. Alright, you did buy the Ogre Axe, like I was suggesting earlier, but now you've backpacked it. So you, for some reason, prioritized 3 agility over 10 strength, and I'm going to say that's wrong. The extra 3 damage and the 0.4 armor, whatever it is that you get out of that, is really not worth it. Was it? You get 115, comes out to 19 armor, so, okay, so not even an armor. But with this, you could have had a lot more life. Was it 20 per strength? So you could have had another 200 health. And 200 on top of your 16 would have been a lot. Especially since you like to pop the ult a little early in team fights. I noticed one time you popped your ult, you weren't close to dying, and so a lot of guys will sort of save it. You'll get into a team fight, you'll start attacking people, and then right before you die, you pop the battle trance and it keeps you alive. But you tend to pop it earlier, and it hurts you because you get less duration out of it, and there's no benefit to playing at the bottom of your health then. Alright, so here's a wave. You need to nuke this real quick. That's fine. You're taking a little too long, but you see the Tiny. Get away from him. That's good. And now back to jungling. You should have taken this small camp. Axe should not be taking your farm like this, but I guess you're going to get more up here, so that's fine too. Okay, that's good. So you actually did swap out the slippers, so I see that now. That was good. It's probably 3 minutes too late, maybe? Well, not 3 minutes, but more like 2 minutes, but still good. It's a good thought. Oh, cool, that sounds right. Alright, so the rest of your team is in a fight here, and this is unfortunate. So the rest of the team has started to go for a pick-off, and you're split farming, which isn't terrible, but this could be concerning if the rest of the entire team responds and the rest of these 4 are ganking. If they all stay together, then that's going to work out well, but this team has a bad tendency not to do that. You should get this tier 1 for free, so that's fine. Just nuke this wave as fast as you can. The other team is doing something. Okay, this is where they all feed, and you just get the tier 1. That's fine. Shove this tier 1 into the tier 2. You should really continue down here. Yep, okay, that's good. Ooh, so you guys have vision over this double damage rune. You need to shove into the tier 2 and go Roche. This is your Roche timing right now. You need to go take that double damage rune and go get a free Aegis while no one's paying attention. Okay, so Sven beat you to it. That's unfortunate. And yeah, it looks like you're going to need to come back to defend. Doesn't look like you are. You're going to go farm some more. Still farming, trying to get a BKB. You're about 500 gold away. It's not terrible. How did you not get the BKB by the end of the game? You're only 400 away at this point. Wonder if you never sold the slippers. That's interesting. You're so close. Alright, so tier 2 goes down. Oh, that's right, you get picked off solo here. Okay, I remember that now. That's unfortunate. So you lost, what was that, 400 gold? Yeah, 393, okay. That was a very unfortunate pickoff. So they had good vision there. Oh, they had they took your outpost, so they probably saw you running by the outpost along with the ward, because they didn't have a ward up here on that side, or did they? I'm on free camera, yeah. They don't have a ward up here. Alright, so now you're dead, looking for quite a bit of gold. What's your buyback? 500 gold for buyback. At this point, you need to save for the buyback, because I think I'm telling the rest of the team that we're going to take a game-deciding fight right here. Okay, Axe goes in early. You don't TP in time. This is a start of a bad fight. So the team goes in before you're ready, because it looks like you're just now respawning. This tier 2 is dead. It's worthless. There's no reason to defend it now. You're already getting threatened in the other lanes, so that you shouldn't be defending. But Axe goes for an opportunistic blink call on the Storm Spirit. So he calls. Void Spirit's too far. Clock is too far. You're not even starting the TP yet. Okay, so now the TP comes in. Veno is way too far, and this fight is terrible. Let's see what you do. Kind of want to see if you use your Diffusal Blade. Okay, you're running in. Sven is BKB'd. Reason to range him. So you're in melee mode, so you're not range nuking yet. Okay, so you cast your Whirling Axes with no one around you, so that was a complete waste. Maybe you thought you were in range mode, but that was just wasted for no reason. You could have had that mischance for later after this Sven BKB wears out. Now you switch to range mode. I guess to attack over the cogs, that's fine. This Axe is dead. You should really just help nuke down the Tiny, but okay, whatever. Switch back to melee, that's good. You still don't use your Diffusal. Okay, you pop your ult early. Huge mistake. You're at full health. There's no reason for you to pop your ult here. Maybe you think if you get the extra damage and attack speed and lifesteal and all that good stuff that it's going to help you just instantly delete them, but it's not. You're not going to magically chew through all these guys. So by popping your ult at full health, that's a huge mistake. You need to start this fight, Diffusal somebody so that they can't get away, hit the person that you've diffusal, burn through all their mana, start hitting them, get stacks built up on them, and then when you're down to about 100, 200 health, or when you're anywhere low enough that like a stun nuke might kill you, then you pop your ult. And then you go back from 200 health down on the low end, back up to your full health when you ult and you get a lifesteal. But right now, you're getting a bunch of lifesteal that's wasted because you're full health, you've got your Morbid Mask, and your ult duration is going to run out a lot earlier when you're about to die, and then you're just going to die, as opposed to your ult actually being a second life for you, where you could have worked through all of your health bar and then ulted your way back up. So, huge mistake. I think that's the third time that I've seen you mistime your ult like that. The stun is unfortunate. You don't have a BKB, and so now basically all of your battle trance duration is wasted during you being stunned. You get stunned again. Looks like you're going to die here. Do you pop your stick charges? You have stick charges. Pop them to save yourself. You're silenced, but that means you can still pop. Okay, so you bought a Diffusal Blade. You never used it once all game. You bought a Magic Wand ridiculously late, and you never used it once all game. And then you ulted far too early. So that was very weird. Yeah, you're definitely not a troll player. because of the ult usage. And this guy's dead. Ba-da-ba-ba. Let's see, continue, and I think the game is over at this point. Do we try to go for one more last hurrah? I think there's like one more fight where we try to do something, but yeah, this is funny. I don't think I've actually shown this fight in the other replays, so I'll just show it now. But I say, okay, we're gonna take one more fight. I'm actually debating with the troll because troll says he wants to farm his BKB. He's now a full 1,000 gold away from the BKB. We've lost top lanes. We're losing mid lanes. The game is over. Troll wants to go somewhere and farm his BKB. He didn't even sell the slippers, so there's like wasted gold in his inventory there. Honestly, if you wanted the BKB, you should have sold your Battle Fury 2 fights ago, and that probably would have been worth it because having the BKB would have been worth more than the Battle Fury in that. But you've held on to the slippers, which is obviously not a lot of gold. It wouldn't have given you enough money for your BKB, but it's still something. And yeah, there's just no way you have enough time here to farm up in that 1,000 gold. So we're getting ready to go in for one last fight. Void Spirit has 1 second left. He's going to respawn. Everyone's here. One last chance. Let's go for it. And what happens? Let's see how badly this works out. Whole time I'm backseat driving, trying to tell everyone on the team how we're going to start this fight. Axe pops his Crimson. Okay, looking a little early. Void Spirit is still coming out of the fountain. We're not ready. Veno's over here. He's got his Orchid for the Storm Spirit, but he doesn't have an ult anymore. Axe is here. Axe gets a double blink on 2 people he can't kill. That's not good. We needed the blink on the Storm. I wasn't ready on the clock. I'm way out of position. You throw the range nuke. That's good. Void Spirit is still so far away, can't do anything. I hook shot into the back of my troll. That's terrible. And the game is basically done here. This is a huge cluster. Alright, and at that point I'm pretty sure we called it. Maybe it took me a little longer to call, but... Alrighty. And that concludes all of the perspective replays. It took me a long time, but finally done.